I want to start our trip with a journey to Southern California for a game I attended between the Los Angeles Chargers and Kansas City Chiefs. You see, Brandon Staley, like Dan Campbell, has had instances in the past where he's put on display his full aggressiveness in doing things like going for it on fourth down and going for two. Just a quick note, 99.8% of my watch time is unsubscribed currently. So if you could subscribe to help me out, that would be greatly appreciated, even if it's just to continuously roast me in the comments section. Thank you. You see, I have a hard time believing people do not believe in momentum, and I think there is a pretty good argument made by very simply looking at who were the three longest tenured head coaches prior to this season: Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin, and John Harbaugh. They've really limited how often they go for it on fourth down, or even limit it to a more conservative perspective in most situations when you're thinking more about Bill Belichick and Mike Tomlin especially. In other words, they basically allow the other team to make mistakes that lose the game. Last night, I think the Lions lost the game. I know there's no guarantee with how things play out after something, given that all of the things that happened were affected by the decision beforehand. But as I said before, I do believe in momentum. If we go back to the moment the Lions are up 14, about 8 minutes into the second half, I did not believe that if they had went for the field goal and missed it, it would have sparked as much momentum as giving the 49ers an opportunity to make the play themselves through a fourth down stop. And just to be clear, there was about a 78.1% chance that the Lions would make that kick given this season's kicking data with how the kickers have been kicking this season. And those were pretty optimal conditions to be kicking in California at this time of year. The other thing I always want to consider is how many scores the game is at if you can attempt a field goal or get a 3-score lead. Given you can make the kick, it seems like a quite more compelling case to change how many scores the game is led by. A 17-point lead versus a 14-point lead is a big deal. The 49ers had only scored 3 points on their first drive of the second half, so if the Lions had made the kick, it basically would have felt like the 49ers hadn't made any progress 8 minutes into the half. But they went for it, and they didn't convert the fourth down. So the 49ers felt like they are progressing in the second half. And that momentum is a very dangerous thing. If I was the coach, the aggressiveness seemed too extreme for my taste. But someone could say that I have the benefit of aftersight, which is true. But I would like to ask all the people or announcers watching to always say before the play starts if you agree with the decision or not. Because I try to the best of my ability to do that every time I'm watching with someone, to tell them I disagree with the choice before you see the result of the play. I didn't like the decision to go for that, especially 8 minutes in to the third quarter. With all that being said, at least Dan Campbell's fourth down thoughts are fairly consistent in terms of us fans knowing that he will most likely go for it. And when it is in suspect territory, that he will probably go for it as well. However, I do need to pose the question, what was the difference in the end of the first half? They chose to not go for it from the 3-yard line. They had one play to score from the 3-yard line at the end of the first half, and they chose not to do it. What was really the extreme difference there between what they were doing in Dallas when they had their 2-point conversion conundrum between the extra point and the 2-point conversion? They were willing to go for the end zone in one play from the 7-yard line and even the 3.5-yard line. So why was that circumstance that different from the one that they saw at the end of the first half during the NFC title game? It doesn't make sense to me giving that as our backdrop, but at least it was a lot different scoring situation. That's where I can give them some leeway. It was to win the game versus to extend a lead. In general, I think consistency is a great quality in a head coach, and Dan Campbell is that when it comes to going for it and being a great football coach. But the amount of times that coaches seem to be going for it nowadays and it being backed by analytics seems too extreme. But hey, even when I think there may be an extreme scenario to go for it, it may not play out how you or I think it will.
If they go for this, I am going to be absolutely stunned.